Thomas-Alexandre Dumas was born the 25th of March 1762, in Jérémie, Saint-Domingue, today Haiti. He was the son of a French nobleman, the Marquis Alexandre Antoine Davy de la Pelletterie, and his black African slave Marie Cécette Dumas. He was raised in the family plantation until 1776, when his father gained the right to reclaim lands and properties in France. But to return to France with a black child was difficult, and so he sold Thomas to a French officer to be able to take him. Once in France, and as agreed, he bought the boy back and freed him. After his arrival in France, Alexandre studied at the Academy of Nicolas Texier de la Boissière, where he was given the higher education of a young nobleman of the time. At this school, he learned swordsmanship from the Chevalier de St. Georges, another mixed-race man from the French Caribbean. Thanks to his father's wealth and generosity, Thomas-Alexandre Dumas lived an early life of considerable leisure. In 1786, Dumas decided to join the French army, a common occupation for gentlemen. Unlike his noble peers, who took arms as commissioned officers, Dumas enlisted as a private, because French race laws made it hard for a man of mixed race to claim his rightful title or noble status. His father was not happy for his son to go to the army and insisted that he used a nom de guerre in order that he would not drag the noble family name through the lowest ranks of the army. So Thomas changed the family name Davy to his mother's surname, Dumas. He signed up for the 6th Regiment of the Queen's Dragoons as Alexandre Dumas on the 2nd of June 1786. 13 days later, his father died. A corporal by 1792, Dumas had his first combat experience in a French attack on the Austrian Netherlands in April of that year. Stationed on the Belgian frontier, in the town of Maulde, on the 11th of August 1792, Dumas captured 12 enemy soldiers while leading a small scouting party of 4 to 8 horsemen. He gained a reputation in the army for his strength, swordsmanship, and a volatile temper. He enthusiastically supported the First Republic established during the Revolution. In October 1792, Dumas accepted a commission as lieutenant colonel in what was called the American Legion, Black Legion, or St. George's Legion, composed of free men of color. On the 28th of November 1792, Dumas married Marie-Louise Elizabeth Labourette in Villers-Cotterets. He bought a farm of 30 acres and she stayed there with her family during his military campaigns. The Black Legion was fighting with the Army of the North when Dumas was promoted to General of Brigade in 1793. He had risen from corporal to general unusually quickly. 1 month later, he was promoted again to General of Division and was made Commander-in-Chief of the Army of the Western Pyrenees, followed by the command of the Army of the Alps. His campaign in the Alps centered on defeating Austrian and Piedmontese troops defending the glacier-covered Little St. Bernard Pass at Mont-Cenis, on the French-Piedmont border. In 1794, in the final attack, Dumas' army, equipped with ice crampons, took the mountain by scaling ice cliffs and captured between 900 and 1,700 prisoners. After being Commander-in-Chief of the Army of the West and General in the Army of the Rhine, General Dumas joined the Army of Italy in Milan in November 1796, serving under the orders of none other than Commander-in-Chief Napoleon Bonaparte. Their relation was tense. The sheer size of the great black general and his volatile temper were difficult for the future French emperor to tolerate. He gave ample opportunities for the experienced general to prove his worth to him, which he did. Ordered to take the city of Clausen from heavy Austrian resistance, Thomas-Alexandre Dumas personally led a cavalry charge at the head of the elite French 5th Dragoons Regiment. Leading from the front, he charged the Austrians, routing them in a melee, capturing the city, and taking over 1,500 enemy prisoners. But he ended up falling into a trap. As soon as his skirmishers crossed a bridge, they were ambushed by a detachment of Austrian cavalry. The Austrians routed the French cavalry and shot Dumas' horse out from under him, but the general refused to go down without a fight. Using his dead horse as cover from musket fire, General Thomas-Alexandre Dumas drew his sabre. Dumas' second-in-command said it best when he said, "I saw the general lift his sabre as a thresher lifts his flail, and every time that the sabre came down a man fell." Standing tall across the bridge, with enemy cavalry bearing down on him, Thomas-Alexandre Dumas held his ground. He crashed his blade down on all who approached him, and, even after taking a slash to the arm, a stab to the thigh, and a whack so hard to his skull that it cracked his steel helmet, Dumas continued to fight, lashing out with his sword in all directions. "I lay there astounded," said the second-in-command, who had been wounded and was laying there mostly incapacitated. The general had killed 7 or 8 men, and wounded double that number. Finally, after stomping his way through a dozen enemies, French reinforcements showed up to rescue their general and the Austrians fled. When approached about earning a medal, Thomas-Alexandre Dumas just said he was going to need a new sword, since he'd dented the old one. Napoleon called Dumas the Horatius Cockles of the Tyrol, after a hero who saved ancient Rome, and rewarded him by making him cavalry commander of French troops in the Tyrol. Napoleon personally issued him a new blade, dubbing it a sabre of honor, and also sent Dumas a pair of pistols. In 1798 he was posted in the Great Armada built by Napoleon for the conquest of Egypt, and learned that he had been appointed as commander of all cavalry in the Army of the Orient. He fought in the conquest of Alexandria, and then in the Battle of the Pyramids, all with great success. But the conditions of his men and the lack of reinforcements and supplies took its toll in the choleric general. He had heated discussions with Napoleon, but it was the disaster of the French fleet in Egypt that really ended their relationship. Bordering mutinous behavior sent the black general back to a ship and on his way to France. Unfortunately for him, that ship sunk, and he ended up being taken prisoner by the Kingdom of Naples and thrown into a prison for 2 years. Dumas' wife lobbied his government for assistance in finding and rescuing her husband, to little result. Only in 1801, with the defeat of Naples to France, was he released, already a shell of the great soldier that he was before, due to malnourishment and disease. He returned home to Villas Cotterets to his wife. Dumas was not awarded any military pension normally allocated to the generals by the French government, and he struggled to support his family after his return to France. He repeatedly wrote to Napoleon Bonaparte, seeking back pay for his time lost in Taranto and a new commission in the military. Thomas-Alexandre Dumas died in 1806 due to stomach cancer at home. He left a daughter, Marie Alexandrine, and a son, Alexandre Dumas, which would become one of the most famous French authors of all times, with books like The Count of Monte Cristo and The Three Musketeers. Many of his ideas would come from the adventurous life of his father. A statue of the general was destroyed by the Germans during the Second World War in General Quatreau Square in Paris. Thomas-Alexandre Dumas' name is inscribed on the south wall of the Arc de Triumphe. Thank you for watching the video, and if you liked it, please press the like button. And if you subscribe to our channel, you will receive videos and news as soon as they are available. From Rex Lusitani, thank you and hope to see you soon.